what color you are, there's only two classes. And that's saying there's a class over here and there's a class over there. And the reason that this class over here has never did anything to get this class off its back because this is lower, this is up.
What I want to know is, how do you guys feel about the way we're treating each other when we hustle hard, so to speak? So let's take it back. We're told, or it's said, we should go out, educate ourselves, learn a trade, learn business, just get all we can, become somebody, and bring it back to the hood. And I don't like to use hood.
That's not what we're told.
Okay, so tell me what we're told.
We're told to do all those things and get out.
And get out and move out.
So we have two thoughts. We have two schools of thoughts. We have both of those. That happens to be one of the more popular ones because I think that's what, I'll just say, the enemy wants us to do. Because you see, as we've moved out, other folks have moved in.
And it's now their community.
And it's now their communities. And what happens? We're stuck on the outside looking in. So it's twofold. But I want to talk about the side of it first, where we see a Larry grew up on Watson Avenue. I learned some things. And the first thought was, I got to get out of here, because I knew what I was brought up in. Why aren't we coming back? And is this an example of why we're not coming back?
That's a perfect example of why we're not coming back.
That's exactly. I think as a whole, until we learn to like love one another as brothers, then there can't be that. Unfortunately, you do gotta leave and come back and stay away and kind of work from a distance, because there's always gonna be one person who's gonna be envious. No matter, you can come back and you can help them as much as you can. You can come back and give them all the tools and all the steps that you learned and you picked up along the way, but for some reason it's always going to be that one person that's going to go, well, why it didn't work for me?
Right.
Why come I didn't get it that way? And it's unfortunate.
And why so though? I mean, why is it so hard for me to see Ramel go out, travel the world, dancing, doing this thing in hip hop, world renowned, everyone knows this guy, and I live next door to him or the same neighborhood for 20 plus years. Why is it so hard for me to just embrace him when he brings that good news back? Why is that the issue?
I mean, you got some brothers that, just, they don't know how to love. They don't have that unconditional thing in them, that love in them. And it's like, and it turns into, well, I'm not gonna sweat him. Who does he think he is? He ain't no better than me, and that's, like we were all building earlier, a lot of this starts from home. You know what I'm saying? And when we were discussing it earlier, it was just based around, if there is no male structure, there's no male foundation in the home, then you're gonna have these other younger men that are being raised without a father that's gonna come out with these attitudes,
So, I don't know that I think I used to really feel that was a thing. I felt like that was a thing, but then again, I look at other brothers, the brothers I grew up with who didn't have their dads at home, who did the same things I did and better.
But we had each other at that time.
So let's talk about that. Where'd that go? Where's that at?
We need to come back together and have that. We don't there is no space. I mean, hopefully now that we have a location now to do what we're doing now, to bring more younger brothers in, to bring them in, to meet us, to be around us, to see, hey, we went through that, but this is what we did to change. When we were younger, like the brother Marquis was saying earlier, that older brother was like, yo, you can't be around us.
I agree.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So now the older brother's like, yo, I need you around me, because which is backwards. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't hang with the dudes.
And you know that firsthand.
Absolutely. I couldn't hang around you.
Exactly.
No, you could be a part of House Gang Crew when we throw the parties right here, or if we need you to go b-boy somewhere, but we bringing you back ASAP.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But you got, the brothers today, especially older men who are not really a good example. You brothers were great examples to me. You understand what I'm trying to say? Y'all wasn't standing on the corner selling drugs, getting money. Y'all was playing ball, football. Y'all was throwing the parties.
You don't believe I actually played ball. So. I don't know I actually did play ball.
Even if they were doing those things,
right.
They also, you got to go.
Right, you got to go.
This ain't for you,
Absolutely.
young buck.
Absolutely.
That's the way they say it. This ain't for you, young buck. Go somewhere with that,
I think the issue is they try to, even if it's from a younger age, they try to instill in us that with our own, that there's distrust. Right? When you look at this Nipsey Hussle, situation, may rest in peace. the narrative is it was someone that he knew, right? So when you take that back to, the way that we're building now, the narrative is you become successful, financially, and then you move out of the neighborhood because you can't trust the individuals that are around you. You can't be successful and stay in the same environment.
Right.
The reason that I struggle with that is because there are other cultures out there, there are other ethnicities out there that are successful.
They do exactly what that is. They stay home.
They stay home.
Yeah.
They have a store. They open it up in the neighborhood. It's 30, 50 years old, and it's generational wealth. So why is it that they can do that? Right?
No, why is it that we can't do that?
Exactly.
That's the question.
That's the question. I know what you mean. But why can't we do that?
We're not taught it, and once we learn it, there's so many obstacles that are put in place for us as a people. I mean, there was a time that blacks had a bunch of stores, hardware stores, cab companies, all sorts of things. And then slowly but surely, those things were taken away. And now we don't have anything that represents us as a people or as a community, because it's not our community no more.
Were they taken away? Or did we
They were bought.
basically give them away?
I believe that, and it's probably, I probably can't say much to this because I'm probably the youngest in the room, but I feel as though
Nobody cares about that.
I think that we didn't know what we had.
There you go.
I always use this one example. I grew up on 133rd between Lenox and 7th Avenue, and those brownstones that's right across the street from the firehouse were abandoned. And I never forget, they were just all of it. It was, you could see through it and up to the roof because it was nothing there.
Right.
I remember,
Except for the pool hall.
exactly. But I remember a fire was caught in there, and it was abandoned. Maybe like 2-3 years later, they built it up. They didn't do anything. They didn't tear it down.
Right.
Because it was already structurally sound. So whereas you didn't have to do anything, it was strong. All you had to do is set up some sheetrock and sell it for $1.5 million. But if we had any sense, and maybe the resources as well. But if we knew, we would have took those.
Right.
We would have. Even if it took us years and years to slap a sheet of sheetrock up today and then another one tomorrow, but I don't think we knew what we had.
We didn't know what we had. We didn't know the information that we needed to know to pursue it, to obtain it. When it comes to the brownstones, I mean, my great grandmother, who's from this area, from 135th Street, she was one of the had the very first cleaners, and she did a lot of things in the neighborhood. But then, why we don't? They'll buy you out. They say, hey, we want to buy this property because we're doing a new project. We're going to renovate the neighborhood. And a lot of our people, because we were interested in living the next level of life, whether it's the Jefferson theory of moving on up, and we're saying, well, yo, I'm trying to get this house in Mount Vernon. I want to move upstate, but they want to buy my store. I'm going to sell it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we don't support each other. We support the Chinese, we support the Jews, we support the Pakistanis, the Afghanis. When a brother opens up a store, I'm talking about a brother that's a native, we don't go to their store and buy nothing from them.
And when we do, we go and ask for a break.
Right. So that's an issue.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and that's one of the things, that exact topic there, how we don't support one another. And I think it was said that in New York City, I don't want to get the numbers incorrect, but I think it was 2% of all businesses owned are black. Only 2% are black owned. And then they're so sparse. And then they're only in a small industry. Beauty products, salons, barbershops, a couple of soul food or Caribbean kind of restaurants like that. And that's the kind of real specialty niches. But we don't have the general store. We don't have the hardware store. We don't have those things. I mean, why is it that we find it so difficult to just stand next to the man that's doing it and do the same thing?
Maybe it's that crabs in the barrel.
That's no maybes.
That's
no maybes. We definitely have that mentality.
It always goes back to when I come into the black guy store, I need a break. Even though his guy is the same price as the guy next door, the Spanish guy, whoever it is, it's the same price. But when I come to you as a brother, I need that 5 cents off.
And I'm gonna speak.
If I give you that extra 5, it hurts my pocket.
I'm gonna speak for all of you. I know it's not that we're condemning others.
No,
we're just talking about.
We're just talking about us.
But you got to make that clear because people turn things around.
But as blacks, our money is not circulating. There is no circulation.
That goes back to what you said about how the percentage wise there's no businesses. our revenue and our money don't circulate in the black communities as other communities.
Right.
They multiply. They go touch one person's hands, or rather their race's hands several times, and with us it's single digits. We can't keep $1 in the hood, and it's like
That's terrible.
and it's unfortunate. You know, you look at history. Look at Black Wall Street. You know. Negro unity is powerful, and I think that if we see that as a whole, that right there will be the first step. You know, I see nowadays everybody calling each other king. What's going on? What's going on?
Let's talk about that a little bit.
And to me, it's like, are you saying that just because it sounds good?
It's the cool thing to say.
That's the cool thing to say.
Saying that to uplift the other person?
It should be uplifting. Bro.
See, me personally, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are, and again, not to go back to the, you know, but I'm 25, and no matter what you're doing, I always like, you could be older than me. I'm proud of you.
Right.
I don't care if you picked up trash and you whatever
You gotta use me as an example.
I didn't do that on purpose. It was just bring right in the face. But if
He
you
met with the little poker in the yard.
Oh, that guy.
I didn't do like
Well, he don't even know about that, so he didn't.
But no matter what it is that you're doing, I'm proud of you because you never know what that could be to someone. You never know what me telling you that could be for you. You could be down and you could think that everything is not going right, but me telling you I'm proud of you, my brother, I mean the world to you.
I have to agree with you wholeheartedly because I think it's a matter of us forgetting that you can still be manly and loving at the same time to another man.
Right.
You don't have to. It's not showing any sort of weakness. You know what I mean? This brother. And I speak these three because I've been around him a whole lot longer. You know, this guy I've known since a little guy. This guy has seen me go through some stress. This guy, we started working together and almost immediately we hit it off. But I've been able to tell all three of them, I love you. In one way or another. And we all show it to one another. And nobody's afraid of it. Why is it, and this is perfect for you at 25, since you want to tell everybody. What happened to your generation where what you do is what we do, but that's not commonplace?
You know, it's funny you say that because on the way here, literally on the way here, I got lost. So I'm on 7th Avenue.
You said you grew up with, oh, okay.
I never, wait a minute. I've never been here before. I'm just, so I know where I'm at. I'm at the light and I see somebody I went to school with. This is my boy. And we looking at each other and he's like, yo, so I get out the car, of course I'm gonna show love. I'm late, but I gotta show love.
Of course.
He's like, take my number, take his number. And he goes, I love you, bro. And of course it was a little weird because, not weird as in like uncomfortable, but it was like, it's we lost that. So I enjoyed it. And I said, right, with no problem. I love you too, bro. You already know.
Right.
And it made me feel good because it's like, to go back to what you said, it's like, okay, at least all of us haven't lost that. And I think to also piggyback off of what you said, there is no real OGs in the neighborhood no more.
Oh,
and even
if
there was guys who were doing bad around the neighborhood or whatever the case may be, you know, bad, they still say, "Little homie, don't do that, man." Don't, you know, there was still guidance. I had that, you know, and
I was telling go ahead, Marquis, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, and to piggyback off what everyone is saying, I think the love comes from the grooming aspect of it, right? Because we're talking about businesses. You're talking about grooming someone else to be able to take the reins of those businesses and to move forward. I think sometimes for us to get in the positions that we are at times professionally, the road to get there was so difficult, right? And so hard that when we see someone that we can groom, part of us is saying, well, why should I give it up that easy when I had to go through all of this, right? Why should I make it so easy for that individual when I had to, you know, basically go through the bumps and the bruises to get to the point where I'm at? Whereas when it comes to the love, you should want to do that, right? You should want to extend the knowledge that you have for that individual to be even greater. Because if you think about our ancestors that fought for our right to vote, all of these things that they went through, they fought knowing that they weren't going to reap the benefits of it. They did it for us. Right. So likewise, when we see someone, we're talking about these businesses in the neighborhood, we should want to put 100% in that individual to keep it going so they don't want to give it up so easy when
Right.
someone comes and tries to buy them out.
So I like what you said about, you know, not that those that came before us that went through the rough and rugged road to get something, how they don't want to give it up so easy. My thing is this: I've had my rough road, but when the next man comes behind me, I'm like, here, you shouldn't have to travel that road. And I'll use you as a perfect example.
Yes.
With us working, when you came on to take over for me after I was on my way out the door, but you jumped in and I said, here's everything.
Right.
I didn't give you any pushback. I didn't think twice about it. I said, it's a brother who's trying to get to do the things I was doing. Now, let me preface that by saying the brother holds his own. Had nothing to do with that. It was just a different position, a different sort of responsibility. So I had to show him what I was doing.
Right.
And he jumped right in. I didn't feel any need to be like, why
That
hold
he's a
back and
threat.
let this
Right.
man fall?
But that's what's
It didn't
rare.
make any sense to me.
That's what's rare.
So why are we still holding on to that?
It's part of the hip hop culture.
Oh, don't blame
The
it on
game,
hip-hop.
the game is to be sold, never told. I know y'all heard that.
No, we all heard that.
The game is to be sold, man. I can't. What's going on? I can't just give it to you. You got to earn it the way I earned it, the hard way, when it shouldn't be that way. Once my knees is scraped up, bro, you should be good, man. Butter soft knees. You ain't got to do the things I did to get there. I did it for us.
Right.
You know, I didn't just do it for me. I did it for us.
Right.
It's a deeper conversation as we're discussing, but it's going to take us as we're starting it, and many others in other states are starting it, and we really need to all come together collectively and build that foundation that we're building now, because we need feet in order to have legs, in order to hold the body to move forward. You know, so right now we have feet, and that's great, but we really need to do this as often as possible. You know, there should be monthly meetings, weekly meetings, whatever those meetings are, based around how do we reconnect and come together socially, economically, and far as even dealing with business is concerned.
Are we watering those efforts down? Is it too many? Is it too many of this going on and not enough kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Grassroots in the field type stuff.
Yeah, is it too much of this?
Now
Not
talking.
enough people out there.
Right, they don't see it.
Right.
They don't see brothers that's 25 and younger are not seeing us there because we're working, and then when we come home from work, we may get an occasional beverage or whatever or a drink, and then we're going straight upstairs. You understand? So they're not seeing us, and we were talking about that earlier. If you don't see them outside, then who am I talking to?
So Devon, what do you think is missing? Speaking from that perspective, is that something that's real? Like you don't see those? We mentioned the OGs. You don't see those guys anymore to kind of guide you, if you will.
I agree. I think that's exactly what it is. Along with, like you said, more people your age. And the reason why I deemed it necessary and important to be here is because when I graduated high school, I was a mentor in the 12th grade. And I did it because, you had to do community
Was that last week?
It's like 2 weeks ago.
I had to, I'm sorry.
No, I should have sat up there so we could all have
I'm gonna get you that.
Swinging legs.
I know you ain't right.
Oh, yeah, I'm
No, but
I was a mentor and I did it for a community service. And after a while, after engaging in it more and more, I enjoyed it. And the way that I looked at it was, I'm young and you're younger than me. So whatever I'm learning, I'm gonna teach you. And it's like we're all learning together. And that was kind of what made me enjoy it even more. So now, every now and then I'll run into a couple of the kids that I mentor and they'll run up to me and they're happy to tell me stuff. And it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like, damn, you really listened to me? You know what I'm saying? Because I was I was graduating. So it's like, you really paid me. I never forget this kid, Zion. And I always remember his Zion and Craig. Zion was, I guess he must have had a lot going on at home. And he would come to school and you could see that. And the way that he dressed was kind of a reflection of that. And I told him, we had to wear a tie in Frederick Douglass Academy, but it was always crooked. So I told him how to tie his tie, and he kept doing that. Now his clothes was a little dingy, but at least it was neat. And he carried that on. So now he's in college, he sells little hats and stuff like that. And every time I see him, he's happy to run up to me and talk to me. Mm-hmm. The last time I saw him was on 125th. He was selling hats. He was selling just baseball hats with just some little logo on it. And he was like, "Yo, Devon, buy one of my hats." And kind of goes to what you said. He was selling it for $25. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to buy $25. But I stopped and I said, you know what? I'm so proud of this kid and what he's doing. I'm going to buy it. And I literally was going to the gym. I detoured it, went to the bank, and took out money and gave it to him. And I never wore the hat. I don't know what the hat is. Right. Never wore it one time, but it's like, I support you because you're doing something good. And I think that's missing,
That's missing, as well as we're growing up. I mean, I'm coming from Bronx River, and you had the Zulu Nation here. You had 5 or 6 brothers in each corner holding the neighborhood down, if you will. Like, you couldn't come in, and then they had these meetings all the time. You understand? We had karate classes. We had the b-boy classes. Then we had classes on just having knowledge of self. That's something that needs to be reintroduced. Because remember when we all grew up, we was watching karate flicks. Right. But we was going to karate school too, learning how to fight. Right. To be able to protect yourself and your community. So we're not protecting the community anymore. You have now these new organizations with new titles to them, whether it's Blood, Crips, Latin Kings, whatever.
Let me interrupt you for a second. We don't have communities anymore.
Well, no, it's not ours. That's right.
No. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying I can't go back to Watson Avenue and say I know 10 people.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
We the way we all grew up as youngins, we had a tight-knit 5, 6, 7 block radius. Right. You knew everybody, and everybody knew you.
That's a fact.
It was your safe zone, no matter what. Now you can't. I've been living over here for 7 years. I do know the people in my building. I know a couple of the business owners because I'm in there all the time. But 80%, 90% of the people around me, I have no clue. And that's crazy.
Me and my mother was just having that conversation the other day, sitting in front of the building, projects. I said, you know what, Mom? If I left your house on 11th floor and I walked down the stairs, I couldn't stop at no other house but mine.
Right.
And I remember when I could stop, if the elevator was broken, we had to walk up because we lived on 13 then. But you could stop on every floor and go into somebody's house, get a cup of water. The doors was open.
Buy cookies, candy.
Yeah, that was 3rd floor. I know where that was. Yeah. But the point being is, like you said, there's no community.
Right.
And my mother's like, I don't even know half the people in my building. And she's been there 43 years.
But there were building meetings that we used to have. If you lived in a certain
tenant patrol,
all of those things are gone.
Right.
And so, of course, we're not going to know who's living around. And some people are starting to say, well, I don't even know if I want to know the person, but I would like to know who lives in my neighborhood. Indeed, so.
So you know another aspect of that, and another reason I should say why I think that has kind of disintegrated is because there's not enough men. There's not enough men. Then again, I'm going back to when I was a kid. I remember all the older women, they'd get their fold-up chairs, and they'd sit out
outside in front
and hang out while the kids are running around, and you would see the fathers, the grandfathers, the uncles. So they felt safe. Those ladies felt safe because they knew a lot of the men were around. Now, the men, and no knock to what you said, are coming home, maybe stop and get a drink or something to eat, and they're going upstairs.
Right.
And there's no interaction with them and the women. And that's something that I think is missing. Okay. Men have to get back into the neighborhoods and have to be out there. How many times, Marquis, we've had this conversation?
Well, there's a threat. Before you go on, there's a threat on us being in the neighborhood. If 5 or more standing anywhere in the neighborhood, it's considered a gang.
So we'll come to that.
Go. I just want you to know that.
I got an example of that too. This is from today.
Okay.
The wife went to the laundry. She's out talking to her friend. She come back from the laundry. I'm sitting right on the bench, smoking a cigarette. But I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette. Police car rolls through the neighborhood, parks in front of the building. I grab my stuff. She grabbed the shopping cart. We go in the building. We turn around. 5 more people that came in the building. So you know me. When the cops came in, I said, look, y'all done cleared the neighborhood, man. All y'all gotta do is show up. Why don't y'all show up when the crime happened? Right. You know? And I got on the elevator and went to my floor.
Right.
But, before then, this bench was full, that one was full, that one was full. And they ain't do nothing but pull in, and get out the car and go in the building.
Right.
Wasn't looking for nobody, but everybody who was there just inherently got up and walked in the building.
Because it's uncomfortable.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling just to have them around, and it shouldn't be that way.
Because you know what they're about, in a sense.
But it shouldn't be that way.
Of course.
We know how it shouldn't be, but it
shouldn't be that way.
And we're not participating in community board meetings. We don't go to no community board meetings. And this is your community, and you ain't been to one community board meeting.
That's why the parties get shut down at 6 o'clock instead of until when it's over.
When it's over, you know, then you don't participate. But again, those are things that we
get
grew
regulated
up
for
on.
you.
Are you heard when you go? Are you heard?
Absolutely.
Your voice heard?
Well, absolutely.
Your voice is not heard when you go because you're not even in control of the community board meeting.
No, I get what you're saying in that sense.
When they ask you part of
That's my point.
Okay.
There's other people that have come from outside these communities, and they've done exactly what you said, which is the right thing to do. Get on the board so you know when things are going on, how they're going down.
Right.
You have a say. But they've gotten in and they control everything. So now I can walk in. We can speak. We're gonna speak.
I get what you're saying. Right. Absolutely.
But it doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. Right.
Because the control is gone now.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Some things in your medicine cabinet are more dangerous than others. When it comes to prescription drugs, opioid pain medicines can be addictive and even deadly. Keeping unused opioid medicines in your home is risky. Half the people who misuse prescription pain medicines get them from a friend or family member. Over 100 Americans die every day from an opioid overdose, and millions are addicted to opioids. But you can be part of the solution to the opioid crisis. Go through your medicine cabinets, drawers, anywhere you keep unused opioid pills, patches, or syrups, and find out how to dispose of them safely. Visit fda.gov/drug disposal for details and remove the risk of opioids in your home.
It's crazy.
So that means how do we there's a lot for us that we need to start taking back. And getting more control over the situation.
So I had a conversation with my youngest the other day. Well, I think it was yesterday. We were talking about, she was just talking about how I grew up, where I grew up, and those kind of things. Because, and this is completely offline, we were walking through 126 from 7th, headed toward Lenox. And as we passed through, and then we on the back side of the stores and stuff now, there's not a lot going over there. As we passed through, I see a guy sitting on the stoop. And I walk by him. 3 or 4 steps later, she says, "Daddy, why does he have a needle in his arm?" And I took about 5 steps, not even acknowledging what she said, and then it hit me. We were just at Whole Foods at that point. I was like, what?
Right. That still happens?
Yeah.
But so here's the thing. This guy didn't look like us, but he's comfortable enough to do something that we're getting killed for doing.
Well, I mean,
In the broad daylight. This was daylight, fellas.
Right.
This is 4 in the afternoon. We had just come out the movies.
Was he a brother?
No.
He had a complexion for protection?
Call it what you want, but
look at the marijuana industry right now. There's a bunch of brothers locked up in jails across this country for weed. But yet now it's legal now and everything is profitable, and now people want to invest in it. But are you going to let all these black brothers out that were locked up for this now? So
No.
it's okay and it's recreational now, but yet...
well, you can't let them go because then your slave count goes down.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
It's
That's not
a
what
big
you-
thing going
Your
on
count
out
will go down.
there.
Come on, Marquis. You got enough.
It's all about the money, bro. It's against us. It's all against us.
Oh, that I know. That I know.
Until they can figure out how to make $1 off it, it's always gonna be illegal.
That's it.
Until they figure out how to
Think about
get that
prohibition.
dollar.
Alcohol. It was that way for many years.
And now you figure, all these brothers we locking them up. So now it'll probably generate more revenue to sit there and just sell it and tax it than to lock you up for having it. And it's unfortunate.
Well, but also it's based on them wanting to be able to entertain it as well. Because they do entertain it and they want to be able to entertain it freely. So it's legal because they needed to have the freedom to do it. Willingly, even though they was arresting us for having it, possessing it, distributing it, smoking it, whatever, but they also want to participate in it and they want to be free enough to do it, so that's why it's legal now.
What's even more sad, just to piggyback real quick, look at how they phrase it. You know, it's
medicinal.
opioid epidemic. Oh, and it's seriously?
That's where I was getting ready to go,
Yeah.
because it didn't become an epidemic till it hit Staten Island.
We were junkies and crackheads.
And drugs
and
affect
crackheads.
it has to affect
And now it's an epidemic.
Right.
Because they're on Percocets and
It's an epidemic now.
Adderall and all these things, and now it's an epidemic. But we were the lowest of the low.
And
We
the
were the ones
thing about it is
going to jail.
and they're all getting help for it now.
Right.
They're building special clinics, special programs, and they're like, here, let us help you back to who you were. When it was us, it was like lock them up.
Not penitentiary.
Let them go
Right.
cold turkey.
Well, the thing is, well, with that is like, well, how can we kill them? Again, it's about killing the melanin. How do I destroy this black melanin? This melanin that they so want to be able to possess. Because as we're integrating with the Caucasians, and not all of them are bad, you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of our men that are integrating with them, and now they're also now receiving melanin. How do I destroy this? I can give them.
There's integration is going to happen. There's nothing you can do
Right,
about
absolutely.
that. So I don't think that's a just statement to say because we're integrating with other races that we're taking shorts. I don't think that's it. I think we have to get back focused on what are we doing wrong. Let's call it what it is. How many times, and for show, raise your hand. How many times you heard it's the white man's fault?
I've heard it all the time.
Right? That's all you did.
But it's not their fault.
But how many times have you looked right in the black man's face and go, are you crazy? This is your fault.
Right.
You're not doing what you're supposed to do.
I got a comment about that.
Even with that, how many times you looked in the mirror and said, it's my fault?
It's my fault.
That too.
Because I'm not doing everything that I should be doing.
Right.
Even though
Now-
we all do what we can.
Right.
But we're not living up to our
And we
possibilities.
know I dare not believe in or state in any form or fashion that there's not holdbacks from them to us. We know that we see that every single day. I talk about it. We know that. But what I want is for us to remember to look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror.
Figure out what you're not doing to move you to the next level. Because you said something about Black Wall Street way back at the beginning of this conversation. We had Roswell. You know, we had all these different places where we flourished because we looked at ourselves in the face and I said, I can work with you, I can work with you, you can work with me, and we can work with us, and we can make something happen. We didn't say others couldn't participate, but we said we're going to work together.
Yeah.
And keep it home.
And it kind of was like we were forced, if you think about it, because of the separation, we couldn't go into that white bathroom. We couldn't go, so we had no choice
Okay.
but to work with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when that same dollar circulated 5 times. I spent $4 with
More than
Larry.
that.
Larry
More
spent
than that.
$3.50
Right.
over here with Devon, and he in turn spent $3 here, and trickled down until it came back here, and then you got to go see Larry again with that same dollar.
Exactly.
You know what
So
I
I
mean?
think that same mindset should be still in play, even though we can still go into any bathroom we want.
Right.
But that thought process needs to come back into play.
Maybe it's because we think
I'm sorry. No. But we can't go in any bathroom.
No. Oh no, we're not going into any bathroom. You know what I mean.
I was told that ladies have a bathroom yesterday, so.
Technically, we can't go in any bathroom now because there's 3 little figures up.
That's a whole nother
So
conversation.
you can go in any bathroom.
If you get the code, you get the code.
Right? How do you feel at that moment? And again, this is. I know we're laughing and joking. We're not knocking anyone and their choices or their feelings and things like that. But it's the truth.
If I could just say one thing, and again, as a disclaimer, it's no disrespect. Me as a person, I am in no position to judge anybody in their preference and who they love.
Right. That's right.
I'm all for it. If you find love in this life, God bless you, no matter who it may be.
Right.
However, I find it, and I know how you say however, it's almost like, here go the negative. But no, I find it a bit like unsettling that you take the LGBT community. They are very strong. We should follow them. I make this joke all the time that if we found a black person who's a part of the LGBT community who happens to have a Yorkie and is a vegan and he be our leader, we would go far because no one would mess with him. And
as funny as it is, that's kind of the reality.
That is actual
kind of
reality.
reality.
This is how black people lost power.
And it's so sad because it's like, how is it that they have come along and figured out a way to work together, get what they want, and almost lap us in the race to equality in a sense?
So you said it. They found a way to work.
What was the way?
They found a way to work together. We still have trouble working together. Look,
That's a good point.
Fullwood could have a job that's paying him $100 a day. I could have a job that's paying $50, and he can have a job that's paying $25. So we got $175 that we're gonna work with. We know to buy that store or to rent that store, we all want the same business. It's gonna cost us about $150. Why can't we find a way to pool our money together? Why? And I don't mean this directly, but why is he saying, no, I'm just gonna give me $50 more and do it myself? And why are you gonna look at it and say, well, I ain't got enough, so I ain't even gonna participate? When others in other communities say, you know what? Well, let's do this. Let's get it all together, and we'll pull you in for that extra 25 or whatever that we're gonna need. And now when we establish this one location, that's yours, and we're gonna get another one. And then we establish that one together, and then we're gonna get another one. Everyone wants to be on top, everyone wants to be first, everyone wants to be the leader. And we're killing ourselves trying to do
So
that.
we got a bunch of chiefs and no Indians.
Always.
There you go.
I think it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning as far as the distrust, right? When you just made the comment about looking in the mirror at yourself. For me, the personal struggle has been, I'm for the community, I love my community, but some of the hardships that I've come into has been because I trusted my own. And it was my own that basically hurt me. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And you have to get beyond that and build yourself back up to say, you know what, this may be one situation that happened, but I have to keep believing. I have to keep giving the opportunity. So I think some of us, we get hurt internally by our own because we're supporting the neighborhood. Either we don't feel the same love, right, back to us, or we don't feel the same support. And sometimes I think we run out of gas. We get tired of trying and rebuilding and learning from that hurt to move forward to say, you know what, even though you brought that opportunity to me about us pooling our monies together, my heart tells me I can trust you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take this chance.
Right.
I'm going to invest these monies without feeling any distrust.
So hold on a second, Marcus. Why do we, and I'm guilty of it too, why do we find it so hard to forgive one of our own when we've been knocked down in the same situation by others? Why can I, here's a perfect example. The supermarket right over here. I went to the supermarket about 3 or 4 months ago. I went in there, now you all know me, suit and tie every day. This is what I do. I speak properly, I act like accordingly, I don't do anything out of line. I'm a straight shooting guy. Right. Cross me, we might have another situation, but that's another situation. But I do everything I'm supposed to do. I go in the supermarket, and there's no one that looks like me. But that doesn't make a difference. I'm in there shopping, and this young lady, that's what made it even worse, because she's half my age, and not even as old as my two oldest daughters. But she was just, I'm not gonna go through the whole process, but she was just flat out disrespectful. And I said to myself, I know how to fix this. Because when I said to the manager, I said, hey, is this what we're gonna do? He was like, what did you do? I said, what did I do? So the things I said to him didn't prove that I really wore a suit and tie every day. Right. I looked like the other guy when I finished running my mouth to him. But I said to myself, I'm not going back in the store anymore. Right. And I stayed out of that store for about 3 months. I went in that store maybe 2 weeks ago, just on a whim. I had to get something. I went in there because I knew it was in there. And dude looked at me. And he looked at me like he was shocked that I walked back in the door. So it tells me that my action did affect him. Mm-hmm. I was only one person. Right. But my action did affect him because they saw me as a regular. And now 3 months, I haven't been there. Right. So when he looked at me, I looked at him. And I went on and got what I had to get, and I came on out. Why can't we understand that we're going to get knocked down in other places? We have to make a stand. Why do we take that stand against our own so vehemently? Why is that such an issue?
I think it goes back to the comment I made about us calling each other kings and queens. You know, we can call each other that and it sounds good, but if we realize that we are really kings and we realize the power that we hold and how strong we are as individuals and what we could do, think about, to go back to the money circulated and the black businesses. We'll spend all this money on Gucci, we'll spend all this money on Louis Vuitton and things like that. And we are the main consumers of that. We're making those businesses what they are. And if we would just stop, I thought it was a little bit funny when Gucci came out with the blackface, which was obviously racist.
Yeah.
And everybody says, for 3 months, we're not going to wear Gucci. And I said, would it kill you to just stop wearing it, period?
Right.
Like, right. It's just like, just imagine if you didn't wear it at all. What that would do to them. I'm pretty sure either the prices would go down, there would be a Gucci sale, which you've never seen, something of the sort. Right. But they would respect us. They don't care because they know that we're going to get mad for a second, but when them new Gucci sneakers come out, or them new Gucci slides come out,
and they give them to one artist to put them on, then I got to get them again. Again, we're constantly going to be used as product placement.
Of course.
Faithfully, and until...
Do we not see that we're being used?
I think we see it, but again, you're talking about a large amount, and we're talking thousands of millions of people that are not seeing that. Again, if they're not educated about product placement and how we're being used, and depending on the Nike or the Adidas or whatever it is that we're wearing, we're constantly promoting someone else's brand because we bought into that brand. But it has no ownership to our community and to us as a people. So that's where it's messed up. Fubu came out, Cross Colors came out, Fubu is still out, but we don't buy Fubu no more.
And you know, as you say that, I just think about, I'm always on Instagram. And on Instagram, there are a lot of people trying to promote their businesses. And I walk through hundreds of black businesses in every category, whether it's dish detergent or baby shoes or, you know, the #1 industry, hair products or clothing, it doesn't matter, food services, all of these things. Why? I'm not of the understanding why we still go back to others that don't want us
in their store
to be part of what they're doing to get what we're going to get. Why is it so hard for us? Why is it so easy for us to order on, I don't want to use names, but the company that starts with an A. Why is it so easy for us to jump on that site, order what we want, wait 3-4 days for it to get here, and we're satisfied? But then if Marquis is selling men's ties, and I know I need some ties, I'm beefing because it's going to take him the same 3 days to get it to me. But I'm happy with these folks doing it over there.
You're beefing because it is going to take me the same 3 days, but it's going to be a better quality and a higher cost. And you're beefing about the cost. Oh, it's like, it's always going to be nitpicking. Small businesses always have to charge a little bit more.
So educated folks know that.
And kid folks know that.
Right.
But, you know, that's always the beef. Why are you charging me? Why? I'm not just charging you, I'm charging him and him the same price. But I have to.
Let me step out on this, and because I know some folks is go think crazy. Markee, we had this conversation when we were at the cigar bar about 2 weeks ago, and I said to you that organization that we were part of, had I not joined that organization, that they're 90% of those people I would have never spoke to, hung out with. I found them to be not of the caliber of people that I would want to be around. There were some that were great people, and I still associate with them. But most of them that I had to deal with and dealt with every day, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So why can't we project that same ideology on other folks?
We have to start doing it. And I think we do it in different ways, but we don't act on it. We're not applying it. We can discuss it all day. When are we going to start applying it?
First, I think it's cool. I think that we should make it cool again to have some kind of intelligence.
Please.
So we're saying smart is the new gangster. Smart is the new gangster. Smart is cool. Smart is the new gangster. That's what we're talking about. I respect that.
I think that's exactly what it should be. You know, I think that by me, I wear a shirt and tie every day. And at my job, most of the men, they don't dress up. And I come in because it's not only am I dressing for the job that I want, but because I I think it's cool to be, preppy and I think it's cool to show that I have a little intelligence. I think that it's cool to be that person. We glorify the real N-word as opposed to glorifying the working man. We glorify that as opposed to glorifying the person who's actually doing something.
Yeah,
where did we lose that at?
Can I put in a disclaimer? Because the way you dress don't affect who you are.
It doesn't. But of course,
So let me add this. We're talking white collar, we're talking blue collar,
Exactly.
we're talking no collar. We're talking a working man. Because see,
So
I
that the
know
working class is that's just the additive. So that
Right.
the intelligence comes when you can wear a 3-piece suit and be just
Dumb
dumb
as
as a box of rocks. But the point is, it's like to me, I think that it almost as if it draws attention to you because it's like it's so uncommon. So whereas if you see it, it's like, and then when you open your mouth into projecting to say certain things or whatever the case may be, then it makes you a whole nother entity.
Whole other person.
I feel like the dangerous thing in the world, and we all heard this, is an educated black man.
Yeah.
So you throw a suit on an educated black man, that
Yeah.
man is unstoppable.
yeah.
well, that's why they didn't want to teach us how to read.
And to keep it all the way 100, Markee, this is, you sitting here now, your business is not what someone would consider a place where people with some intelligence would loom. But I have and never had any issue with having full-blown conversations with you. I know where I came from and I know what I expect.
Yeah.
See, I know how me and this brother speak here and I know what his educational background is. But I also know that you can sit right in the middle of us and have the same conversation with the same intelligence. So, again, for anybody listening and watching, this brother's not saying what you wear makes you who you are.
Yeah.
He's saying it gives an appearance.
Gives an appearance.
It definitely gives an appearance because look at him or look at me when we go to work versus look at you. Somebody gonna say, let me ask one of them for directions first.
Right.
Yeah.
Not knowing you the one that just told us how to get there.
And that's what I was saying. Don't judge me because of what I look like.
Right.
But see, and that's it, and that goes back to what I said also, where it's like as opposed to glorifying what was common, whatever happened to. I think the working man is cool.
Yeah.
I think that's cool, and I don't know. Maybe it's because fathers are lacking in the home, but I seen my father do that, and I seen other dudes do that, and to me, I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah. I tell everybody, my pops and my grandfather were both pressers and dry cleaners. My grandfather did it for, I want to say it was 45 or 47 years. Right at the spot that was over where Pan used to be. It was a dry cleaner right there.
Right there, yeah.
Came from Virginia. The story I was told, he came from Virginia, dropped the family off on Jennings Street at an apartment, walked down to the 2 train, got off at 135th Street, came out, saw the sign, went in the store, said, I'm the guy for you, and that's where he was at until he retired at. My pops, same thing. Not the same path, but he ended up being a presser in the dry cleaner. I'm proud of both of those dudes, and I had deep conversations with both of them when they were here. That wasn't my path. That's not the path they wanted for me. But it didn't say they were less of men or they were less educated. That's what was for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have to get back to, I want to come back to something we were talking about earlier, because it's something that for me is near and dear. Having that OG on the corner. Having that OG in the neighborhood. And Martin back there behind the camera, the brother that was in here with you and I. James Harlem. That's that guy. You said that. That was the OG for you who would sit back and have conversations with you when you were young and you looked at those things. Now, no disrespect to the brother, but he's not running around the corporate offices right now. But me and this brother sat right here and had conversation. He knew what he was talking about. He was a worldly dude. And I say, this is what the young brothers need. You should see us when you walk through saying, proud of you, like you doing everybody else. You should see us. There's not enough of us walking around anymore.
So, in order to do that and accomplish this particular mission, we're going to need a base. Be it the National Jazz Museum as a base, and as it expands, we need to be able to go into a community center, because that's going to be the only way it's going to work.
Well, I don't want to put anyone on a spot, but I agree with you. There needs to be a point.
Right.
There needs to be a point. But that point, for me, and I totally hear what you're saying, for me, starts out in the street.
Right.
Because they're not gonna come in here, those that need it, unless we're out in the street to invite them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you're absolutely correct. But things like this video, they need to get set because everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on YouTube and everything else. No plugs for YouTube, but everybody, everybody's out there and they're viewing these things. But what is it for you to the 200, 300 people that follow you on whatever your social platform is? You say, yo, go look at this, and you. We got 1,000 people now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And now they're sharing it, and then once we see it move around a little bit, now we need to get to the point where you call a couple of your folks, say, yo, man, why don't you come on through here? I know you watch it, come on through here. And you're on the other end of the spectrum. So you're gonna say, you know what? I sat down with some older cats, and I like what they were saying. They even like what I was saying. So why don't y'all come on and check us out? That's what we have to do. We got to start getting face to face.
Now, with that, let's take going to the juice bar the other night. As I told you, I'm not an OG, but I'm older.
Let's get it clear. I'm the oldest dude in here. Let's work with that.
You're not a senior citizen like yourself. As I walked up, I even told you, as I walked up, that wouldn't have been a place that I would have walked into.
Right.
Just from my experience being in the hood and being everywhere else, just with the crowd that was in front of the place.
Intimidating.
It wasn't intimidating, but that wouldn't have been a place that I would have, you know what I mean, uninvitedly walked up to.
Okay, but why? As a youngster, you mean? As
me now.
Really? Why?
Really. If you hadn't invited me there, I'd have walked out and I ain't going to.
But why? Seriously, why?
Because the young boys were doing what young boys do. And they wasn't doing nothing crazy. They were just hanging out in front of the place, talking to each other, 3-4 groups of 5 or 6.
But
it's not intimidating.
But we did that.
We did that.
And we didn't. It wasn't nothing to it.
Wasn't nothing to it then. But in certain circumstances, that whole nothing to it changes. Because I remember, like, for me doing stuff like that strange face came, yo, my bro, who you? Who you come to see? Right. You know what I mean? And not having an answer, things sometimes go left. You know what I mean?
It's interesting.
So it was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for you. I'm gonna be over at the chicken spot. That's where I was waiting for you at. I said, yeah. And then when I saw you car, I walked over to the pole and pretended like I was standing there.
I want to get your take on this, but here's my thought when you said it. I'm like, well, you know me, and you know the company I keep, so to speak. So if I'm saying go here, there should be no question.
There was no question to go there, but the path to get there had to go through those 10, 15 things standing outside.
I can't roll with no punks, man.
You ain't rolling with no punks. You ain't rolling with no punks. Never. But you know what? That was the path. You know.
No, I get what you're saying.
To his point, he makes a good point because if you think about it, we may have been out there back in the day with groups of 10, groups of 15, but a lot of the OGs, they weren't out there. They were elsewhere, right? Which kind of gave us an avenue to, okay, I'm not always going to be out here. What am I going to do after this? You would kind of look towards the OG, right? What are the OGs doing now when they're not out on the block, right? And to kind of go back to a very good point that Marquis said when we were building, it's like, we all came together to build. How do we change this? And he made a very valid point when he said it's baby steps, right? Baby steps. So when we talked about before how the community has changed, it's a lot of us that are not in the community, right? We just made a very valid point of how we need to get in front of the community, the younger brothers. I think the only way that we really tackle it is 50-50. And one way to start is with the platform that you provided, right? Right now for everyone, the quickest avenue to get information is either going on the internet, going on their phones. Right now we have a platform to communicate because I'm sure individuals that are going to watch this are probably sitting at home thinking the same thing.
Right.
How do we change this? What do we go about doing?
Or how do we get with them? How do I get with them?
Right. So we started here, and then from the internet, right, it goes to, okay, we're going to meet here every Thursday. or every other Thursday, and we start getting the physical with the internet, and we build from both angles.
Even with the baby steps, like he said, part of that baby steps was when you finally got there, and we went in together.
You still taking shots at me.
I'm still taking shots at you. But when you got there, we went in together.
Right.
Three of the brothers that was outside came in and we had a conversation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
But outside that environment,
It wasn't.
my mind,
Right.
in my mind,
So that poses another question in a sense.
you know what I mean? Even you, brother, if you standing out there, I'd be like, I ain't going there, man. This she poo poo looking guy, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm
I'm just what it is.
This is what I get, man.
This is how I am.
Serious? I'm from Harlem, man.
Live with it.
You know? Come on.
See my Instagram photos?
And probably with you laying on a teddy bear.
Shots today.
Look, see this?
Take it on. Let's talk about the swing his legs.
I know, right? It's like if he jumps off of that.
I'm holding on, I got one wrap there.
It's gonna be a long way. But it's like, where did we get to a point where we're scared of one another?
It's not about being
not scared. But where did we get to a point where we
question.
we question
We question that and have to feel not emasculated, but
Yeah.
I have to feel that I can. There's four of y'all. I can at least take two of y'all. That's how we have to feel, and it's unfortunate because back as kids, I'm sorry. We all been in the same sandbox playing together. You know what I mean?
And the flip side of that is you take people of other complexions, they'll go in a room or a bunch of people standing outside and it looks like they're extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
do you want to drink? I'll get
if they see one of me and you sitting, no matter what you dressed as, it's what are you doing here?
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
But you know what, it's kind of 50-50, right? Because I think we've all been in situations where we've gone on a certain block and that gut instinct doesn't
That's
make you
what
no
it is.
punk, right?
It don't make you no
That
punk.
gut instinct has had you look and said, okay, something's not right. And then the next day you hear about something that jumped off, right? When you didn't go there. So I think that we get to that point with age because we've survived because we've listened to our gut.
And that's kind of not minimizing what you said, but that's kind of the obvious. You look and you go, I'm not going that way. I'm going the other way. Maybe when we were 25, we might have said, "Nah, I'm going that way because I'm built for that."
Right.
Look. With wisdom, we go, and this is what you're talking about.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You just go, you know what? It doesn't look as kosher as I thought it was going to be. So my man said meet him here. I'm going to stand on the peripheral, and I'm going to wait.
it could just be because, also you keep in mind that, like, Bones ain't as limber as it once before, so you probably don't want to take that chance.
Good shot.
Exactly.
I
I don't feel like I used to. And I could take three, now I can only take two. So it's,
So I'm saying, you might got one good fight left in you. You might not want to waste
Oh, man. Come on.
He sat patiently.
Let's
and
talk
he kept
about
saying that. Oh, man. See, this is what I love. I love when we can sit and we can poke fun at each other with the truth.
With the truth.
And then walk away from it. We can't do that with everybody. We've gotten to the point where, and I said this at work the other day, Thursday. I'm trying to keep up with my times of reference because I'm horrible with that. But Thursday, I'm walking through the corridor and there's another man, looks like me, coming my way, and he's always got his head down. He's always got his head down. Whenever I come through, like he'll be looking at me and then his head is down. And sometimes just because I'm like, I just keep walking because I'm on my own mission. But Thursday, I caught him just as he got on my shoulder about to pass me. I said, wouldn't it be nice if two black men could look up and say what's up at least one time? He looked up at me like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? I'm like, bro, you walk by me all the time. You never look at me. You drop your eyes as soon as you get near me. Why do you do that? He's like, well, I don't know you. We're in an office. We see each other all the time. Just like I've done with 20 or 30 other people, just say what's up. It's not hard. You're familiar with me. You know I'm here. Why do we find it so hard to do that? Why do we walk up down the street and it's so much easier for me to walk in your direction doing this, and then we get right up on each other, we do this. Instead of What's going on, brother? How's your day?
Right.
Because that was instilled in us.
It has to be installed in the person.
Yeah. Because I used to be the same way. I mean, the only reason that I got out of it because it was a profession. I started out working in the hotel industry, right? At that point, when those doors open and someone comes up to the front desk, you are the face of the hotel. Mm-hmm. They're going to ask you, where are good places to eat, where the closest, are there any plays that are going on and whatnot. So being in that position forced me out of the norm of being afraid of the reaction, right? Because once upon a time, we walk up the block, if it's someone you don't know and you speak to that individual will look at you like you're crazy, right? Like, why are you speaking to me? You don't even know me,
Right.
Where I know you from. But to get out of that, the occupation forced me out of that where I didn't have fear, where I could say to a brother, how we doing, brother, without feeling like any repercussions or feeling like I'm being less of a man by extending a pleasantry, right? Of just saying hello.
Right, and isn't that something how we feel less than? Well, I don't, but I know what you're talking about.
Right.
You feel less than if you're the first one to initiate.
If you're the first one. So I think it goes from the streets sometimes into the workplace, right? Where individuals, where if I don't know you, why should I speak to you? And it shouldn't be that way.
All it really is a defense mechanism. It's just you're preserving yourself. Even walking down the street anywhere, I look at people, I see them, and I go. But if you say something to me, you throw me totally for a loop, and now I gotta stop. Like you said, the brother said, he said, "Oh, hey, bro, how you doing?" First, I'm looking at you. Okay, is this guy one? Am I gonna have to do something to him, or is he gonna...
Coming, what I thought was a tough guy, but it was more about I got my confidence and I was ready to defend myself. But I was the softest dude in the world. But what I had to learn was, if I didn't engage, then I would lose. Because if I did that, I couldn't stare you in the eye. I wasn't gonna do that. I was too soft for that. So I'm gonna duck my head. You get past me, you'd knock me over the head because I wasn't looking. I was scared to look at you. So I had to learn to engage so I could feel who you were. No, and for me at that point, it was know if I'm going to run or if I can keep talking.
I keep talking.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess we all have our different ways of coping with it, but it just bothers me the overall that even at my age, in the morning, walking to my car, half the people, men, they're looking through me or really at me instead of to me. And it's not until I say, good morning, brother.
Right.
Then it's like, hey, good morning, man.
They totally don't see you.
It's
they don't
crazy.
see you. All they see is
I'm
a figure. You're a figure
yeah.
who's in that path that they're walking. And then if you say hello, like you said, you don't.
That's a good point.
Oh, good morning.
So then, I'm gonna ask you to do this.
Uh-huh.
The next time you rolling through and you catch an eye with a brother, just say good morning, good afternoon, how you doing, something. Instead of to keep staring or to look the other way or whatever else you do, say it and watch what happens.
Done.
You can definitely change the energy in any room.
Yeah, watch. It's because you're catching him off guard.
Yeah.
He's not
expecting you to say anything.
So now when you do that, trust me, that's in his head for the rest of the day. And the next morning he comes out there to go to work, he's looking for you. Not necessarily looking to see if you're coming through, but he's thinking, dang, yesterday morning this brother walked
got
by
me.
and said,
I'm gonna give him good morning today. I got him.
If he sees you the next day, he's going to look and say, good morning, brother. And you're going to be like, got him. You just changed
But
the
you
mood.
know that's interesting because it only happens in New York because when we go down south, everywhere you go, everybody's good morning, how you doing?
Hey,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Isn't that something?
You're 100% right.
So it's the New York state of mind that's going on that we have to always be alert and looking out for who is trying to harm us or who really wants to be generally kind. At the end of the day, I wasn't brought up that way because of being a dancer. You have to be entertaining. You have to look at someone eye to eye, and that's just been me. But to hear you brothers say that, I have seen it. That brothers walk by and they put their head down, and it's like, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of what?
Right.
But just say what's up, and you're gonna change the energy of the whole environment. If you say good morning, I've heard many people when you walk by them, you say, Dad, no one said good morning all day. You're the only one. Thank you.
When you can attest to this because I know you've done it before. You text me first thing in the morning, Larry, you're gonna be at such and such and such and such. What's my response?
Good morning.
Don't, you're not just him, but text me, hey Larry, you gonna be at such and such and such and such? I read it. And my response is, good morning to you too.
Right. Like what happened to
Let's swing this whole move right now. You can't just jump on me. I don't care what time of day it is. Greet me. Because I'm gonna do what you. For me, it's a matter of respect, first of all. We have to learn to respect each other. And that's a sign of respect to me. To acknowledge me first, and then let's get into whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. And out of the mouth of babes, Lori, my 10-year-old, she said last Sunday, we were coming out, after we got out of church, she says, Daddy, she says, do you know every time these people see me, they never ask me how I'm doing, they always ask me how's Angelique, because she's in school now.
Yeah, she's away.
So they'll walk up to Lori and they'll go, hi Lori, how's Angelique? Hi Lori, how's Angelique? And Lori, she's like, Daddy, do they want to know how I'm doing? Right. And I'm saying she's 10.
Right.
But she's picked up what Daddy has been putting out there.
Right.
Pay attention to me first when you come in my way. Show me a little respect, and then we can move on with everything else. A 10-year-old says that. You know what I'm saying? So, brother, try it. Try it.
Morning.
I talk about it when we saw each other at work every morning, when we saw each other, or every afternoon, or every evening, whatever part of the day we saw each other, it was a greeting first, and then we move on.
You can even say the same thing we're talking about right now happened this evening when I walked in the room. These two gentlemen were already here. This young man opened the door for me, and I walked in the room and I said, "What's up, bro?" You know what I mean? But first I was looking for nothing. You know what I mean? But I did want.
And again, if I've invited you into a place, that's because I know I can trust who you are, and I know those that you're gonna be around, I can trust as well. At that point, there is no uncomfortability.
It wasn't uncomfortable for me.
No, but you had to scope the spot first.
I agree, because the same thing when I walked in. He opened the door, and automatically the same thing. Where's Larry? So then, but he turned around and he shook my hand and he introduced himself. Okay. So it made it a little comfortable. So when I came in and seen these two brothers, like, well, he already started it. So now, hi, my name is, because he already,
There you go. So, but it's that thing. Somebody has to start.
Somebody has to start it. And he started it because he opened the door. But I still. Hey.
I'm not gonna invite you nowhere else, man.
So I mean, I'll show up.
Overall, throughout this entire conversation, it's starting to feel like we are all interested in entertaining the Each One Teach One project and bringing that back to existence.
Absolutely. And I think we all engage in it in our own time. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we do it. I know you do it.
Indeed so.
You know, we all do it. I think we have to be more pronounced with it. Mm-hmm. You know, this here doesn't mean I say, all right, fellas, come on, sit down with me, let's rap today, and you know, we'll edit it out, everybody take a look at it, you know, we'll talk about it, and then that's the end.
That's the end of it.
No, it shouldn't be.
My thing is this: if you have a topic, a subject that is relevant to who we are, what we're about, or not, hey, lad, let's sit down again. And you know what? Bring such and such along.
Really, that's what I was just gonna say. Maybe
that work. Or I might have somebody I want to bring with me because they understand we've been chopping it up about that. So don't take this as this is it and that's that. That's not what it is. When the request or the interest or my thought of who I'm gonna have sit down with me came up, I mean, I thought I know who each one of you are. And I said, what point of views am I gonna get? I definitely need people who can understand where I'm coming from. But not just accept what I'm saying. That doesn't work. It has to be dialogue.
Right. So if we could like discuss this part, because I don't get this. You know, you watch to go all the way back to the passing of Nipsey Hussle.
I was definitely coming back to that.
The other day they had a march where it was the Crips and the Blood and they marched together. And I said to myself, first off, this is not the first time they've done this. So, and I made this post, like my girlfriend, she hates when I do this because she feels like I'm too radical. Like I'll go on Facebook and I'll put these long posts and she'll be like, oh, you're being a politician again, huh? But I'm like, to me, watching the Crips and the Blood come together in March, it's great and all, that's cool. But to me, it's almost like watching two let's just say, junkies, for lack of a better word, come together and decide to use the same needle because it's economically feasible. It doesn't make any sense. How is it that you could put together, or you could put aside your differences to walk down the street? That just shows that whatever it is that you're beefing about isn't that important anyway, because you was able to put it aside. How is it that I can hate you with all of my heart today, but then now somebody's died, so tomorrow we're going to stop this for a second and march? That just means that whatever problem I had with you from the beginning wasn't that big of a deal.
Or it didn't even exist.
It didn't even exist. And I can march with you right now, because if I really didn't like you this much and we've beefed for so long, I don't care who passed away.
Right.
I'm not standing next to you.
Right.
So the thing is, if we could do that for that.
Brother May's funeral, me and a certain somebody. You remember that?
Yeah.
If we could come together and put it, then clearly that just shows that whatever differences that you may have is not that serious. That if we can march and do this, it's not that serious. And you, like you said, like introducing yourself to another one. My girlfriend again, she'll sit there and she'll be like, if I say something to certain people, she'll be like, I don't know who that is. You don't need to know everybody I know for one. And I don't even know who he is, to be truthfully honest with you. But I talked to him because at some point, I probably say good morning to him, or I probably good afternoon, because a lot of times I don't know who it is that walks up to me, but it's because I probably stopped and said something to them or something like that. Right. And to me, it makes me feel good on different levels, because it's like, one, I've been in situations where it may be a little weird where I'm at, but it's one person out of the whole group that remembers me from something, and it's like, nah, he's cool. He's he's good.
Right.
Pass.
You know, sticking to the whole march that the gangs did. So I wanted to go to that, and I'm glad you brought it back. I wanted to go to that at the very beginning. So the first thing that was mentioned was the shooting was gang related. That was the first thing. Mm-hmm. And almost instantaneously, everybody in the hood jumped right on it. Entertainment, everybody. This is not a gang shooting.
Right.
It's a difference between two. It was a difference between these two men. That's what it was, right? And that was pounded. It's not a gang situation. So why are we making it a gang situation with the two gangs marching for gang unity? That wasn't about, see, that it didn't ring as the unity of some black men in the community. It rang as the Bloods and the Crips.
That's a good point.
Walking together to show some solidarity for this. So,
because we already
before you're a Blood or a Crip, what are you?
A human being.
You're a man. So why wasn't that the plan? So we, right where the media tossed it out there, said, oh, gang related. And we were like, oh, time out, that's what you always try to do. Then we got two of the biggest gangs in the world jump over and go,
no, this ain't us.
Let's go with that. You know, so that bothered me a lot, and I didn't know how to handle it. I think you read the post that I put up about Nipsey Hussle and the whole thing on IG. I wrote about that, and I wish I had my phone handy. I would actually read it out. But y'all check me out on IG. I think all of y'all, all of y'all got me on IG. Yeah, check it out. But I just think that, again, we're going back to letting someone else write our story. Because that's what happened in that instance.
That's true.
The man was gunned down because of a beef he had with somebody else that he knew from his neighborhood or whereabouts. And that was the end of the story, basically, why this happened.
Yeah.
Media said gang related, as they do us all the time. Because if one of us get into something like that, we're gang.
We're gang.
We're gang.
Yeah.
So we jumped on it, rightfully so. We're not doing that. But then they just sat back and said, watch this. Somebody called the Crips, called the Bloods, said, y'all go out there and march, show some unity. And we called it a Crip and Blood thing. And not just the Crips and Bloods, because we know there were other gangs out there.
Right.
But those are the most recognized of the groups. And it's like, we have to, we were talking about something earlier where we said we have to stay the course. We have to stay the course on things. We can't just let anybody say and do because we keep getting caught up in loops.
It would have been it would have had the same approach and the same outcome if we probably would just named it something different. A unity march.
Yeah, just with that. They could have wore their colors. Every gang that was out there, 7, 8 gangs. Everybody, you can wear your colors.
LA march.
Right.
The Nipsey Hussle march.
Anything.
The marathon, something. But that right there, you're right. It just continued the narrative that we already shut down from the get-go. That we already ruled out and didn't allow the media to perpetrate, but we ended up bringing it right back.
Bringing it right back, yeah. And, you know, I'm nobody's expert, nobody's detective, none of that stuff, but I also find it curious that the camera system, we haven't seen any of those videos, or it hasn't even, Forget about seeing them, because we know there's an investigation going on.
Right.
They haven't been talked about. The media hasn't spoken about the fact that he had showed the store as a camera sitting right in the front.
There's something that they don't want to show.
But there's video. Most of that video was cell phone video.
Yeah,
people are
and
doing
it's
all the
extremely
telephone
far.
video.
But there's one right in front of his store.
Right. Well, that's my point. There's one right there. And come on, we know it worked.
Yeah.
We know it worked because he knew what he was dealing with.
Yeah.
He knew his neighborhood. He knew the kind of people that were hanging out there. He knew that let's talk about the celebs and everybody else who was coming through. They checking for security because we know all the rappers ain't as tough as they say they are. We know that. So they want to make sure they secure. But we don't see that. We don't have any of that. What about his crew? Again, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but what about his crew that was there, the few that was there? We heard shots. We went running.
But that's
Nipsey was standing there.
That's what,
Y'all know that's your
the
money
man.
That's your breadwinner.
That's your money man. And he's there, and we all hide. The reports have clearly said the dude shot him. He fell. He looked up, said something like, "Yo, you got it. You got me." And dude turns back around
Came back
and
3
pumps
times.
more on him. Walks a few steps and then comes back, hit him again, and kick him. So we still in the store. We security. We have a business. There's guns in there, and none of us came out blazing.
But maybe they let all their guards down because to them it's like we're comfortable, we home. We don't expect one person to do it to us. We
Are you
home.
that comfortable at home? Seriously, no, I'm not challenging you, but are you that comfortable at home?
No, I agree with you 100%.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mean you personally, but I'm not that comfortable at home.
I get the point.
Right.
I agree.
I grew up on
Once
Watson
I
Avenue.
get in the house, yeah, I'm good. But
Right.
till I get there,
I grew up on Watson
Never
Avenue.
know.
I still, from Elder to Colgate and Watson, I'm still watching. I'm going.
Especially at that time.
You know what
now,
I'm saying?
Now you can tell a penny and you can, anything you hear, but at that time.
There's kind of a gray area where the history is, right? Because if I'm on the block and you're talking to, Ramel and Markee, and I know them and we're part of the same group, I would feel comfortable walking with
I'm
you.
comfortable.
Right,
Yeah, that's
because
comfortable.
of those two, right? The way that they're trying to, the narrative there is that the two of them knew each other, which is why the guards were down.
So I get that, but now it's sparked.
Right.
We're standing there, and I won't, because I don't want to put it on any of us.
Right.
But somebody that's one of us is mad, and boom, pulls out, bomb. The other of us take off and run.
That doesn't make sense.
That didn't make sense to
That
me.
part doesn't. That part
Because
doesn't.
I would feel safe saying if we in a circle and one pulled a gun to shoot the other one, the other three would immediately pounce on him, as opposed to
Trying to get
running,
the gun away.
because you need to
trying
get that
show-
gun down.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
No, that's a very good point. And a lot of people are thinking that way, and the way that they're trying to steer people away from that thought process is, well, he employed a lot of felons. So a lot of them didn't have any heat to protect. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So
And it's
someone
terrible.
that's not thinking beyond that, it would stop them right there at that point to say, okay, well, that's why they didn't do it. Besides saying, no, but it's still not right.
See, my thing
You
is,
know what I'm saying?
if you
Yeah.
look at the
Yeah,
way
I
everybody
do.
was standing, Nipsey was we're here and everybody's over here. If I'm the money man, if I'm the one who's bringing it all in, we need to be like this. I need to be where you are. That way, it's two people on my side all the time. I don't care if we chilling. It should always be in the back of your mind. We gotta protect him. He's the
Right.
homie.
Right.
We're cool with him.
Right.
We grew up with him, but he's not the same anymore. He actually, you know what I'm saying? We gotta protect him. So even if we just chill,
definitely
we can't
called
lose
him
sight
a
of that.
And that's
Definitely
exactly what
called
Nipsey was
him,
trying to get away from. He was trying to be the same, in the same hood, doing almost the same thing, except on a more financial level. He was doing basically the same thing he was doing. He was selling his mixtapes. Instead of selling them in the parking lot, he opened the store and was selling them in the store, but they were still his tapes. So, with that, they just looked at it as Nipsey, like you said. It's just Nip. Which, like, should not have been, because he is the breadwinner. He got all 10 of these stores, so we got to make sure all 10 of these stores open up tomorrow.
We won't,
You know what I
we
mean?
won't put each other on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But we'll sure bury each other.
We'll sure
without
do that,
hesitation.
But then we put him on a pedestal when he's gone. So we can walk around and then and put the shirts and things
Great
like that.
point,
But why
yeah.
can't we do that?
Yeah.
We all, I I know I was affected
It's
by
all
it.
money, brother. It's all money, man. But Nipsey ain't selling no shirts, man. Where that money going?
You know,
Hopefully it goes to his family, man. So, but it's not.
Not a dime.
It's
Not
not.
a dime. Not a dime.
Sad.
Not a
It's
dime.
really terrible.
and it's unfortunate because it's like this happens all the time. You know,
Yeah.
we will look down on each other,
Yeah.
oh, and then as soon as he gone, look at all this love. How come we can't have this love for one each other?
That's why I think it's affected everyone so negatively, even from from the younger generation, even to our generation. Because number one, you want someone like him to win because he's going against the status quo,
Yes.
which is you don't go back to the neighborhood. You become successful, you leave. He was doing the total opposite.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is, why is it on our side every time there's someone that's pivotal, that's motivational, that's doing the right thing, why is there always some type of, if you want to label it, assassination? Why is it always that around that individual that's able to make that change? Right?
Well, I think we've all touched on it because those that did not have the drive, LeBron, he was doing an interview in the course of an interview, he talked about this. And one of the things he said was, he said, you get brothers that grow up together, go to school together, do all these things together, and he used basketball, which made sense.
Right.
He said, we played on the same teams together, we did all these things together. He said, but then there was one or two that were extremely motivated to achieve higher, or had the ability to achieve higher. He said, then you had a couple of the cats that started with you, they kept rolling with you. And then those few that fell off, they had low attitudes. You didn't know why, but you didn't have time to pay attention to it because you were trying to get somewhere else. And as you grow, a few more fall off. So now I'll start embellishing. These are my words because I realized where he was going. So then you get to a certain level and you look, and that same circle is not as big anymore.
It's gotten smaller.
It's gotten a lot smaller. And sometimes you're filling it in with those that you meet along the path. And those are telling you how that other element is not what you need.
Right.
And those are the dudes that can't realize it, men or women too, but those are the ones who can't realize they just don't have what you have. So love you for finding your purpose and finding what you do. Don't hate on me. Don't try to pull me back. We got to get people to understand that it's not about you when I'm trying to achieve. It's about me. I have nothing against you. I have nothing against you. This is what I'm trying to do. So if you can't work with me, just stand off to the side. We were friends before. We can still be friends. But if you start cutting at me, you got to go. I've seen it, and I know you guys. I felt it.
There's a lot of people
All the time.
have let go
All
of
the
their
time.
time. So
Because
just gotta keep moving forward.
you, those who come with you may not always be able to go with you.
Those that started never finish. Not always finish. Yeah.
And that's where, you gotta be, I guess, secure enough to know, okay, he gonna get it, he gonna come back. And I'm not gonna hate, I'm gonna wait until he come back with the knowledge and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go, like,
Even if they don't come back, you have to take your past friends and whatever for what they were. They taught you lessons. They taught you things. Even in my past, I got friends that I talk to, but I don't talk to as if I was talking to them right now. I got to talk to them about stuff that happened 20 years ago. And that's the only way they understand me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I got a few of those.
you know what I mean?
I got a few
I
of
got
those.
kids 20 years old now. I mean, okay. Yeah, back in 19... You don't even know what 19 is. 19 what?
he got the drop. That's a good play. He got the drop.
I was waiting on that one.
You're gonna get a better one. You're gonna get a better one. I just wish, man. I mean, and I was talking to a couple my daughters, and I said, and I've said it to my son in the past as well. I said the changes that I'm trying to make, I probably won't be able to sit back and appreciate. I'll probably be gone before they really kick in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I might see some advancement. I might say, oh, okay, that's where I was going. I can see, but I won't see it. I won't see it and really be able to look at it and go, wow.
The good idea.
You know, and when you know I respect you all. When I say me, I don't mean me. I mean us.
Right.
You know, because we're all talking the same language.
Right.
You you may see it because where you're at age, but you're starting way young. You're starting at half my age. You know what I mean? So you may actually see it and go, dang, all these years ago I sat with them older cats, and now what they were talking about, what I was talking about, here it is. You just might see it.
And I think that that's the kind of importance of having, you know, younger people involved, because it's like, it's almost like when one king or one leader or whatever, you know, goes on, that's it. It just stops.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be people of all ages involved with the movement, so that, you know, when the older crowd does, you know, go on, I can continue it.
Yeah.
And then my little brothers continue it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's just one,
Right.
and it's over, everybody's lost.
Right, and that, I mean, I think it was Marquis that said it earlier. How we have to pull the, I think you all said it, pulling the younger ones in, and kind of sitting down with them at some point and saying, look, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's a blessing that you chose to come.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I mean, y'all, I mean, with y'all, I mean,
No,
at this
it's-
age,
it's-
this doesn't happen.
No,
you know
it
what I
does,
mean?
right.
It's inspiring and it's hopeful.
Right. So my challenge to you would be the next time something like this is going on, which is frequently, you know, you say, well, let me reach out to a couple of the cats that I know that either A, are thinking along the same lines that I'm thinking. Because what you do now is you put out a whole new vibe. You got cats that are looking at this that are your age going, oh,
He was there?
I don't care about what he said. It was too old.
Yeah, what does he
What
say?
you say?
Right.
And they go, oh, okay, let me pay more attention now. Or those cats that you know, you might run with them, but you know these are knuckleheads. They're not listening to me. Bring them in this circle, which is what he was talking about. Bring them in the circle. Let them have a seat. And I bet you, as they listen, they'll start to learn. I haven't been listening. I've been missing some stuff. Because apparently you've heard it. When you were spoken to, you've heard it. So you get it, so now you're able to push it back. It's always important, and I really, what I really wanted to do is find a much older gentleman. Someone in their 60s or 70s.
He's not good enough?
Close. I tried. But then,
This is his own.
I might have to get you.
Last one got it.
I might have to get some get back because the last one got him.
Crying on the inside.
They got him in the gut.
What was the movie? He was like,
That's how I felt when you hit me with that thing.
Oh, man, I tell
Let me get him back. I'm tired of this.
I was going to say I'm going to have to get you because I am the oldest in the room, but I'm going to let that ride out. Stay in my lane.
Yeah, don't get in this.
Right, I'm not going to get in that.
Oh, man, I tell you.
No, but I really think, man, it's super important that, Ramel, you said it time and time again throughout this entire conversation. It's a matter of us getting out, and you use the perfect word, grassroots. It's about us getting out and really doing what we say instead of just saying what we should do.
Right.
You know, we have to really get out there and start talking. As I was walking up to the door, I don't know if you guys saw, there's a little guy out there. He had a jersey on, a Kyrie Irving jersey on. His high school jersey, actually. Little dude couldn't have been any more than about 12. And he's pissed off. And I slowed down so I could hear, he's talking to his mother. And he's not talking at her, he's talking to her. He's pissed off. And he's like, and then 5-on-5 in the full court. And I'm saying, let me see what he's talking about. So I crept up a little bit. What he was talking about is the older cats in the neighborhood. They're playing full court basketball. And he's mad because he wants to play basketball. But he's saying, which made sense, he said, why can't they play half court? So another team can play over here. He might have been 12 years old. He was tight. And so his mom looked at me, and what I usually do, I run my mouth. So I decided to intervene. And I said, oh man, why are you so mad? He said, because, and he went and told me the story. I said, so I was your age one time, and I wasn't big enough to play, but what I did is I kept playing, I kept going out there, and I let them see me all the time, and as they got to know me, they started letting me play. And he said, yeah, but they're big people. I said, I wasn't always a big people. I was a little dude like you. And at some point, I was able to get there and play. When I tell you how his face lit up, his mother didn't say a word. She just looked over her shoulder, carrying her daughter. She looked at me, winked at me, and said, "Thank you." So there was some effect I had on that little kid, and now he might run into one of y'all walking down the street, and you get a chance to reinforce that. But the goal is, the point is, if we don't step out at least once, no one gets affected by it, then we sitting here talking for nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't like to talk for nothing.
We talk cheap.
Right.
We ain't talking, we're speaking.
So, I think we covered a lot, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate y'all coming. This is not a one-time thing. This is something that, we're going to do often. I want you guys to constantly think of where we can take this, what we can do with it. We can do it in other places. We can invite other people for conversation. No one's immune to learning. No one's immune to.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.